Good afternoon. Welcome to Local Umbrella Live. My name's Brad Weber with Local Umbrella Media. We are here at the beautiful Attorney King Studios in Coronado, California, and our special guest today is Mr. Aymerick Rondeau. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Aymerick,
Yes.
he's the owner of Aymerick Modern Furniture in San Marcos, and welcome, Aymerick.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you very much for having me at the show today.
I've been looking forward to this. So I was introduced to you by a good friend of mine who actually got some furniture from you and started talking about it. And
Hmm.
it's not, I'm not your perfect customer because I'm not a designer, but she was telling me all about it and how much it was amazing and how you were kind of standing out in the crowd and doing some really special things, and turned out to be true. So tell us a little bit about what is modern furniture and what exactly you do, and why you're different and better than someone else out there.
Okay. Modern furniture is a movement. Modernism is a movement that started in the late 40s. It's a post-war movement, which is about streamlined in design, very minimalist, clean design, which got popularized in the late 40s with designers such as Charles Eames in the US or Harry Bertoya and many other ones in Scandinavia such as Hans Wegner of Inul and on that did access worldwide recognition in the 60s and then went slightly away in the 70s. And it's modernism is the design school, if we could say, which came back on the design world, I would say design map in the mid 2000 with the show Mad Men, and
Oh, and
he's
Madman.
not, yeah, and he's now one of the most sought after type of design that people look for. What do I do with that? I specialize in hunting those goods in Europe through a network of wholesale suppliers, which I developed over the since 2015, which I then fill up in a 40 feet size container and import to California, restore those pieces, about 5 to 600 pieces a year, restore those pieces one by one, and then offer, give them a new, fresh youth,
Right.
and then put them back on the market.
Yeah. Well, I should
That's
have
to
prefaced
sum it up.
that. Thank you. I should have prefaced that Rondo has a beautiful French accent, um, and
Do I?
you do just slightly, yeah, kind of like mine. Anyway, but it comes through loud and clear. It's very understandable. It's very charming. But you are from Europe, and how did you make this connection to start doing what you do?
Um, well, this type of design modernism was something I would say, interested in, as a young adult.
Mhm.
I was barely scratching the surface of what it is exactly. And, I turned, that interest grew into, I would say, like some type of hobby.
Mhm.
I discovered that scoring, like quality items on Craigslist, which needed, complete refinishing, was something that I could do. I made a lot of mistakes. I learned from my mistakes to, to get to the point where I'm at right now. Um, and that hobby grew into, I would say, a lifestyle. And then, the big deal was really the starting import export with Europe, because again,
Mhm.
in order to be a solid or like a reputable dealer selling those type of furniture, you need to have a solid inventory.
Mhm.
People don't want to drive 2 hours from Palm Springs or LA or now from San Diego to
Right.
look at 5 or 6 pieces in a garage. They want to have choices. So the import export really opened the doors to me to um, be able to play with the big guys of the industry.
Mhm.
That's what happened. Um, and then, like it took a few years. I had a dead job, the career for many years,
Mhm.
which I slowly um, stepped back from to move forward with my passion.
Mhm.
And since 2019, I'm the lucky one that are able to support my family and do what I love for a living.
Well, it's beautiful. It's
Thank
very
you. I
beautiful. I
appreciate
know
it.
I know you furnish your own house with it. I've seen it when I delivered some of the magazines and things, and
Yes, indeed.
yeah, you practice what you preach, and you live in it, and you have a lot of your own pieces in your own house. So that's
Yeah.
makes it more real and
Well,
believable.
I've heard the same sentence many times in my life since I've been living in the U.S., which is, pretty much goes like this: is like, if you do something that you like for a living, you don't have to work another day in your life.
Right. You
And
look forward every
yeah,
morning, you get up and create something, and I'm sure you're making, it's furniture is a big deal. I mean, it doesn't sound like that much sometimes, but it's finishing someone's home and their environment and what they live in every day. So if they're not happy with their furniture, it
yeah,
might go in other ways. So, um, it's you're making people's lives better every day. Happy customers. So
yeah.
was Mad Men part of? Did you watch Mad Men yourself? I
Yeah,
mean, or
of course. Yes,
okay,
yeah, of course. I can tell you what's. Yeah, it's not fun to watch Mad Men with me because I can pause the show like every 15 seconds to tell you, look, do you see what's there? Do you see what's there? Do you see what's there? And so yeah, yes, I
you
definitely
might miss
watch
the
the whole
storyline,
show.
but you'll see you won't miss any of the furniture. So that's great. I'll have to do that sometime. It
Nope.
sounds like fun, actually. So anyway, you watched it, you saw that, and that was part of the inspiration
Yep.
to actually do what you did. Now, a lot of your business is online, correct?
I would say like as right now, it goes from 30 to 70% of my sales month to
Okay.
month. Yeah, is actually online. So at least a solid 50% is shipping out of state,
Okay.
or at least outside of Southern California.
Right. So I've been to your facility and looked at what you do, and you have it's quite an operation. It's worth driving up and looking just to watch you work, and watch all the pieces you have. You have so well laid out. It's a big building that you have there, and lots of furniture, but it's very well laid out and it's beautiful. So
Well,
if
thank you.
anybody wants, we'll give you the address at the end if you don't mind people showing up and
Of
looking at your
course,
stuff.
of
Anyway.
course.
Um, so is the holidays are coming up, is that a big time of year for furniture? I'm not familiar with that industry as well.
Mm, I registered my company in 2015, so I have a few years to look back and see if any month are more inclined to bring business more than other month. And looking back, I can tell you there's no system or
No peak
logic or
holiday.
rhythm behind it. Like it's just I it's always steady, but sometimes there's a dip, and then I can't explain why. So
Steady but unpredictable. Yeah, it just
yeah,
happens when it's
yeah,
supposed to happen.
yeah,
You gotta be there and keep doing what you're doing and
yeah.
whatnot. Has
Uh,
has COVID affected the supply chain for you also, like it has everyone else?
um, COVID forced me and my European partners to change our way of operating, as obviously it was not possible to fly to Europe anymore, which I used to go at least twice a year. Um, so most of my suppliers are older folks, who don't have any website or don't care for website, like
Mhm.
that. They're antique dealers, wholesalers, antique dealers. They were dealing with modernism before it was a trend. They will deal with something else, if one day it stops. So I pretty much had to force those guys, super cool guys, to get on the train, the modern train, because in the past they were not really interested in taking pictures or texting pictures. They will always tell me, it's okay, just when you're in Copenhagen, can't see me. There's a lot of stuff you can pick from. But so I
Uh,
called them one by one when international travel stopped, and I told them, I said, listen guys, if I can come, your Japanese buyer can come either. Your German buyer can come either. So if you want to stay in business and I want to stay in business, we gotta do do something. So now
Find a way.
it's made. Business is done through Instagram, through WhatsApp, through FaceTime, Messenger, and on and on. Like, I mean, I would say like regular modern way of communicating from from one
Right.
nowadays. So
Yeah.
COVID did have forced me to and my suppliers to adjust. Yet it didn't have any negative impact, and I'm assuming it's because a lot of people who had put had a desire of replacing a piece of furniture in their house or filling a gap in their house and
Hmm.
had this project for quite some time found
Right.
themselves all of a sudden stuck at home
Yeah.
looking at that piece to replace,
Yep.
looking at that empty gap, and being like, well, okay, I guess it's time to do it now.
That makes complete sense. I don't doubt
Yeah,
that.
that's my understanding. That's only an assumption, but this is what I think happened.
It makes sense. I'm sure that's what happened. So, do you do anything special? I mean, do you have the Aymerick method of doing things, or you just you use traditional methods and just do a very careful job? And you're an artist.
As for the restoration,
Yeah.
you mean?
How do you go about it? Yeah.
It's yes, it's first of all, it's based on the type of wood the furniture I'm gonna work on is made of. Rose, I would say 90% of my practice is restoring teak, rosewood,
Mhm.
and walnut. A
Right.
little bit of mahogany and a little bit of burl, but mostly those three woods really come first. They have different density and then their own their own characteristic, which I I can mix the techniques of restoration from one to another. They're very special.
Mhm.
It took me a long time to be able to find a technique I was comfortable with,
Right.
as far as like time and convenience. And but since I found that, yeah, I stick to it. It's
Yeah.
let's say I found a method and a rhythm, and it works. So why would I try something else?
You have the recipe, the Amérique recipe of trial and error, and you found
Yeah, yeah,
that
pretty much. Yeah, pretty
now a
much.
lot of the wood you mentioned teak and mahogany and some of the other ones. A lot of that wood is, if available at all, they aren't. It's not like they're making more of that wood, right? It's very rare.
Yes, well, it's there is still some teak furniture being produced, and
Mm.
I know you noticed that too. And the offering is always for patio furniture.
Oh, really?
And
Yeah, I know
yeah,
that.
because teak is a very resistant wood.
Mhm.
The big difference with old growth teak or old growth rosewood, which is what my inventory is made of, and a piece of furniture you can buy new from the shop now to to put in your backyard, is those forests where those modern contemporary furniture are made from man-made forests who are made to be harvested to produce furniture, which was
Mm.
the main difference as opposed to the furniture that I have in shop. Those forests were natural and harvested in the 60s, yet now they are protected, and this is why it's much harder to find.
Right.
And you can fake patina. You can fake the way wood aged. So
Mhm.
this is
Yeah.
and for instance, like rosewood doesn't, you can't harvest rosewood anymore, it's
Right.
protected. So um yeah, it's special.
One of a kind. So I know you've dealt with you've had some customers that are relatively famous. Tell us about some of the customers you've had, or some of your favorite pieces, or some of your favorite designers that people may know about.
uh well, there's I'm skateboarding is one of my other passion.
Hmm.
It's like it's more like a lifestyle than anything else. It's something I've been involved since I was like in my teen years. And this is why one of the reason I moved to California in the first place. So I'm
Oh,
quite satisfied every time I have like some pro skateboarder that which I've been looking at in magazine and videos, walking in the shop, and like starting chatting and becoming customers and then friends. That's
yeah,
really cool.
yeah.
I obviously as well. I was I met Val Kilmer, who purchased a piece of furniture, a sweet stereo console for his daughter.
Mhm.
Um, like Edward Furlong, from American History X
Mhm.
or Terminator, that show up to the shop one day unannounced, and I was like, Edward. He's like, yes. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's but the base of my customer is very, very broad. There's
Okay.
no, it goes from youngsters to older folks to designers to, yeah, it's very, very broad.
Right. So, there's a lot of famous designers that you mentioned. I know the article were written on there, but I don't know the names. But you specialize in looking out for those famous designers that there's a real following for certain types of design, just like an artist, a
Yes,
furniture
exactly.
manufacturer. Okay.
Yes, so I tend to explain people sometimes. I love to share the knowledge. I love to share the information
Mhm.
when somebody comes to the shop and is not, I would say, is discovering
Right.
modernism, and then realize that this is a much better option than Ethan Allen
Right.
or like IKEA or whatever. I love to share the knowledge, and I often explain them that well, a Porsche costs more than a Volkswagen.
Mm.
So if I have two tables in the shop, one is $1,500. It's a beautiful table, and the other one is 3 grand, and they look the same. Well, it's because one is made by a very fancy,
Right.
very famous designer, which just like everything else, you pay that reflects reflected in the price.
Of course. Yeah. Art and rarity and all those things come into play. So,
Yeah.
um, if someone wants to, what's the best way to discover what you do and what submit some of the pieces? As your website, Instagram?
Yeah, Instagram is definitely an outlet where I advertise my inventory. The I list my inventory in bulk. Like I'm able to restore between 5 and 7 pieces a week. So every 2 weeks, usually on a Monday, I list those 15 items,
Mhm.
and then go back to work, and it was and I had and restore more, and I had few those pieces like a few weeks later in the shop, on the website. But Instagram or the website are both ways to to discover what's available.
Right. So
Of
stay
course.
stay in touch because not everything's available all the time. You release new pieces every week that you finish.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
and then the website has a big page that's called New Inventory, because I only have displayed on the website maybe like 25% of what's really in the shop.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then is there links to your Instagram and other social media pages on your website, or what's the best
yeah,
part of the
yeah.
website?
It's all linked. Yeah,
So go to Aymerick
yeah,
and it's AY, it's on the bottom of the screen, but
yeah,
AYMERICK modern.com, correct?
yeah. Yes, indeed. Keep it simple. I keep it simple. I try to.
Keep it simple, yeah. Simple
Yeah.
and and classic. So, well, listen, I'm really a big fan of yours. I just
Thank
love
you.
your passion. I know I can see when I talk to you in person or even today that you love what you do. You put your heart and soul into it. It
Indeed.
shows. People, if they buy a piece that you've restored, um, they're gonna cherish it for a long, long time, and it becomes part of the family. So you're changing lives, you're helping people out and making memories. And, I'm so glad you're successful. I can hear the guys working in the back, so it sounds like
Yep.
another one's getting ready for market. So
Yep.
anyway,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
thanks for being with us, Aymerick. Aymerick Rondeau, Rondeau, correct?
Yes,
Correct.
indeed.
With Aymerick Modern Furniture in San Marcos. So go to aymerickmodern.com to see some of his new pieces and go out and see Aymerick up in San Marcos. What's your address up there?
3208 La Mirada Drive.
Okay.
It's all on the website. Yet just
Just off the
it's always
78 and San Marcos Boulevard in that area.
ex- exactly. Um, make sure make an appointment.
Make an appointment first. There's no
Yeah,
show up.
yeah,
There's a lot going on, as you can tell.
yeah,
Well, it's a good
yeah.
time to stop, I think, because the workers are coming and they're making noise in the background and making some furniture. So
Yeah.
that's our show. I want to thank our sponsors, Attorney King of course, Saquon Casino, Nikki Rotten's downstairs, IB Fitness, and help me out, Sarah. Wilsey. Say it one more time. Wilsey Asset Management. Yeah. Sorry about that. I didn't have my glasses on, so I couldn't read that. Anyway, that's our show. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Aymerick Rondeau, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks very much, Brad. You take care, okay?